if he were to attack, he would miss.
And the slash counts as lightning again, like we explained earlier, so with the unequipped glitch, that does virtually nothing. We're talking a lot about RNG and seeds. RNG is actually just random number generator. In the SNES, it's very predictable, because what it does is it just uses a set pattern that it will pull. It's a pattern that is predictable if you set it up in the same way every time. And then every time it tries to pull a number, it'll pull the same numbers in the same sequence. So when you're doing the same things and you start the game at the same time, you get the same results.
Yeah, it's kind of older games often have that. I mean, newer games often use like the internal clock in the game console to seed the RNG, which then basically makes it impossible to predict or manipulate.
Other ones are still pretty predictable, like FF7 and FF8. The step count is very predictable in manipulating the encounters.
Yeah.
Wexel, now you have a chance to steal some lunch.
I'll steal some more of these for the time being.
I know that Karakarn playing FF7 coming up uses some pretty heavy step count manipulation for the encounters.
Yeah.
And he's been experimenting with it in FF8 because it works the same way inside field map areas, and he's been trying to eliminate a few encounters from FF8. Which makes a big difference with how hard it is to run away in FF8.
I thought FF8's kind of the same as this game, where you go into the menu and then hold the buttons and then you run away.
Yeah, but it takes a variable amount of time to run away. And then sometimes it can take quite a while to run away.
Yeah, because the route I use for FF7 cuts out about 30 random encounters from field maps. It's a bit more aggressive than Karakarn's, but
yeah, Karakarn wants
mine's more difficult.
For the slots.
Yeah.
He wants to manipulate the number of fights more than like eliminating them.
I mean, I need to manipulate more enemy skills than he does, but that's a little less stringent than getting slots encounters.
Yeah, so that battle, I knew exactly what was going to happen, what attacks Slash was going to do, and who he was going to attack.
So even though it looked pretty dangerous when you had two of your characters down very low health, you knew exactly what was going to happen, and you weren't in really much danger at all.
The only way I would be is if I messed something up.
Yeah, that's why I said much danger, because it's still possible to make a mistake.
Yeah, because what she does affects the RNG too, so she's basically having to follow a script in order to keep the manipulation going.
Yeah, there are a couple points where I had to wait just a little bit with Robo and let Chrono or let Frog attack first, and then Robo takes his turn. Just
For instance,
little
in
things
these
like that.
fights, if you didn't run away fast enough, when one of them got an attack off that they shouldn't, that would affect the RNG, right?
It doesn't really matter, Pet, because she's going to reset again before
she
Magus,
is, okay.
so what happens for the rest of these Magus Castle battles doesn't really matter.
I mean, the world record actually doesn't reset before Magus.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like we were saying earlier, it was able to reset before Nizbel, and then use that to manipulate all the way up through Magus.
Yeah.
It's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
So obviously, every time you reset, you lose a little time.
So it's really just weighing the time it takes to reset, which in SNES isn't actually that much compared to newer consoles. So you just weigh that time against how much you can save by resetting.
Yeah, because there's a guy working on encounter manipulation in FF6 that is having to make decisions about, because in the English version of FF6, it takes longer to restart the game than the Japanese version, so he has to take that into account.
Yeah, you can run under both of those if you get the timing just right.
Well, those seem to be random. Sometimes they're different like every time, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's the same trick where as long as you're not moving, you won't get into encounter with it.
Yeah, and I believe those Rolly-Pollies are the only thing in this entire area that can actually start battles, though if one of them touches you, the jugglers or the vamps, I think is what the or
Oh,
whatever
that's
those
dark.
bats are called, will join in too.
There we go. This TV's kind of dark. I usually use the pattern on the floor, and I can barely see it.
Yeah, there were hidden pitfalls in that last room that drop you into a dungeon type area, and then I think I don't know if it's predictable or random, but then you have to pick some fake save points. One of them lets you out, the other
It's
starts a
fixed for
battle.
which hole you go down.
Oh, okay.
So if you know which hole you fell down and which save points go with it. Okay, now this room there are 3 battles, and you can run from the second one, but not the first or the third. Don't ask me why.
Because reasons.
Yeah. I mean, just once you accept the fact that you can run away from lava spawn in this game, the rest you can just kind of learn to stop asking questions about battles being inescapable or not.
I assume that's just the same as like the oversight in FF6, where the flag to prevent you from running away is just not there
For
between
the
Ifrit
Ifrit and
and
Shiva, yeah. I mean, it seems like most Square RPGs have at least one battle that looks like it should be inescapable, but actually isn't. Like in 7, it's the guards you have to fight during the execution sequence. You can actually just run away from them.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's funny because in Chrono Cross you can run away from everything, but the equivalent of that are forced encounters that it puts you into, and then when you run away, it doesn't put you back into the forced encounter in a few instances. So it's just
Oh, what was the runaway total from the run last night?
Village and Lust count. There are a couple of runaways in the route that you do on purpose to manipulate things, so that gets inflated, but yeah. With some of the dodges you'll see that essentially has to do in Chrono Trigger, as long as you know the setup, they can be difficult, but they're doable the same way every time. But it's the difference between Chrono Trigger and some of the other games like this where you just have enemies on the field map. Chrono Trigger, the enemies tend to move in the same ways most of the time, and you can find pretty reliable ways to dodge them. In the ones where you actually have to dodge them as opposed to just avoiding triggers.
I don't think there are really a whole lot of difficult skips here based around moving enemies, though, just because it seems like a lot of them you can just stop and they go through you.
Yeah.
The more difficult ones are just where you have like a pixel window to get around the trigger. Or like the Truce Canyon one where there's a time-based element to it too.
There's a couple tricky ones. I don't remember if it's in the Ocean Palace or the Black Omen.
Black Omen has some pretty difficult ones.
But of course, we don't go to the Black Omen in any percent.
Nope. Don't get anywhere near it. Yeah, especially those goons, just because some of the goon battles, if you don't avoid them, they take forever and you can't run away.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those in the Black Omen where if you can't avoid them, they're not escapable. Ozzy's fighting technique is why I find it amusing that he referred to
Frog is a
Frog
spineless
as a
wimp,
spineless.
Yeah. You have to forgive me. It's pretty much impossible for me to see this battle now without thinking about the time that Abda forgot to take the Berserker off going into it. That was the unfortunate end of his SGDQ bonus stream Chrono Trigger run, was because he hadn't saved since entering Magus's castle and didn't have time to start over.
Like how when you come back to fight Ozzy again in the bonus stuff at the end, side quests, he's still frozen when you find him.
Yeah.
Some more amazing menuing, as usual.
We've had quite a few bosses in a row now that don't really allow for the fade out glitch, but we're not quite done using that to skip fights. There's just a number of bosses here that need to fight to make the story advance.
Magus hype.
You get those bats on the stairs when you fight them all the way at the bottom. They all stack up if you kill them in one slash. And that's how I had to beat Magus as a kid.
So this fight, if I got the correct RNG, then I guess we'll use only lightning and shadow moves.
Because in a normal run, you'd want to bring Luca instead of Robo to this,
Yes.
so you'd have basically all of the access to all of the elements. But doing RNG manipulation lets you control what order Magus changes his weakness, and with the desired setups, he's only going to use either lightning or shadow. And then having both Chrono and Robo lets you do rocket roll, which really, really hurts him
Yeah.
when he's weak to shadow. Okay, less talking, more Magus music.
So we should do lightning. No, I didn't get it. Wow, I'm really having trouble with these today.
That looked better.
Yeah, you have to load it really fast.
If this works, you barely see the save select screen. Because unlike when you came into the castle where you had about a second window, this one's frame based. But since you're basically just mashing as the save screen loads. There's 2 different frames you can get that give you a good pattern.
Yeah, it's the same thing where there's a window. It's just the window for this one's very small.
Mm-hmm.
And Magus is weak to the one he's using?
Yep.
Yes.
Something I didn't know as a kid was that you have to keep attacking him with the Mazimmune, because dropping his magic defense only lasts for 1 round.
Yeah, it is temporary. When I was same thing when I was a kid. I thought you were stacking the magic defense drop and that you'd be doing more damage, but sadly that's not how it works.
Well, if you dropped it to under 0 and underflow, that might be a bad thing. I've got a complete. What?
0 damage, what?
Especially if it's one of the games, where you get high enough resistance and you start absorbing.
There we
There we
go.
go. Okay, now I'm gonna do something different depending on whether it attacks Chrono or Robo. So just wait for him to attack.
And
And I almost always get Robo. We'll see. Yeah, so hang on. I gotta check this real quick. Okay, so we should do Shadow.
Yeah, Magus's spells are a little underwhelming when you have the unequip glitch that's giving you very high resistance to lightning and shadow elements.
Still like to watch Magus cast magic spells though.
Yeah, he does it with a lot of style.
We call him Disco Dude.
Okay, you should do Shadow again after this.
And of course, he's got 6,666 HP.
of course.
Once you've taken out about half of it, he completely changes his attack pattern.
To give you an idea of how much damage this attack is doing is that Rocket Roll is an attack-all attack damage to each individual target, but since we're amplifying the damage so much, it still does a large amount of damage. Like if you could use a dual tech that did shadow damage that was a single target ability, it would do a lot more damage in general, because single target attacks generally just do more damage per target.
Okay, so he's in his second phase right now, and he was still weak to Shadow for basically the turn between when she brought him below the HP trigger and when he started prepping for Dark Matter. But once he starts prepping for dark matter, he's no longer weak to any elements, so you get your damage per round is higher just by using all these single targeting attacks instead of keeping going with stuff like rock and roll. And ideally, you can kill him before he does dark matter a second time, but if he does do it, it's not really any big deal because Chrono will survive it, and neither Frog or Robo need experience or tech points from this fight.
Yeah, so even though their magic defense is so high, this still does a significant amount, I guess.
Yeah, I mean this was a really really tense battle in before the unequipped glitch was discovered, just because dark matter would be a guaranteed kill on everybody except Chrono, who would just barely survive it. And then you'd have to kind of pick yourself back up and start fighting again.
Get just a few attacks in before he does it again.
RNG manipulation here was especially important because the unequipped glitch doesn't increase your magic defense across the board. It's only against particular elements. So if Magus switches to the wrong elemental barrier...
Fire, I think, is the bad one, because I don't think you get any fire protection from the glitch.
Yeah, and because of that, we don't have anyone in the party to use certain elements in one place. But also, when he would switch to fire, it would do a large amount of damage to the party members.
And this should kill him here. Yep, there
Yeah.
we go.
I almost had it.
That Frog and Robo don't get those tech points.
No.
No. Frog is pretty much done except for one part after this. And Robo's going to get enough tech points without this fight.
Yeah, I don't think Robo needs any
Robo's-
more attacks, because I don't think you get enough to get Robo tackle.
I'm trying to think if I even use Robo after this. I'm not sure that I do.
Yeah, it's Chrono, Marley, and Ayla are kind of the important ones after this part.
Mm-hmm.
Luca gets quite a bit
Yeah.
of use too.
Yeah, although I don't think she needs to learn any more techs,
No, she's good.
because
on
she
what
just needs to
has.
contribute to Fire Kick.
So it pulls all the characters in, but doesn't damage anything else in the room.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how Lavos rolls.
If you have like any donations now, it would be a good time to read. No, you're making me sad, people. You're not donating.
There's this nice box sitting here on the table we haven't mentioned in a while. It's the mystery gift that you can be entered to win by donating, I think it's $30. So you donate $30 or more and you'll be entered in to win this. Only a couple people here even know what's in it.
I don't know what's in
I
it.
don't know what's in it.
I think it was provided by Lauren
Yeah, it was Driscoll.
Driscollad, and pretty sure Pox knows, and maybe one or two other people know what's in it. But we're told that it's very worth the money.
Oh, yeah.
And Metasigma is making a very exaggerated nodding motion off camera.
But is exaggerated normal for me? So you should say normal.
No.
Do we have any prizes for this game? I think we
We
might have like some
should.
perlers.
That's good.
I don't remember what they are, but I'm pretty sure we have something.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
I
Okay.
believe also we have the special prize that was announced during Final Fantasy 13.
Yes, that is still available.
Oh, you mean the-
exactly what it is.
I mean the big promotional poster?
I'll go plug the prizes.
So Poxner just pulled up the list of prizes for this game, and he's gonna tell you everything you can be entered to win if you donate during the rest of the Chrono Trigger run.
Which is going to be several hours, right? Because she's got a lot of game left to go, right? She got the
Alrighty,
Chrono
so
lair, the
So many bosses to fight,
the
right?
undersea palace, the Blackbird.
No, there really isn't that much more time to
Yeah.
get your donations in.
Alrighty, so there are actually 5 different prizes available for donors during this game. The first is a original Super Famicom of Dragon Quest V, which you're entered automatically to win if you make a donation of $5 or more. We also have an original Super Famicom of Dragon Quest VI available for a minimum donation of $5. There's a beautiful Perler of Scala that you'll be entered to win if you make a donation of $5 or more. There's, of course, the mystery box on the table, which you will be automatically entered to win if you make a donation of $30 or more. And trust me, it's not a box inside the box. It is very much so. You would be very happy to win that for a $30 donation. And finally, we have what might possibly be the last existing Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII canvas promotional poster that was used during the original promotional tour for Lightning Returns. And I honestly mean, don't ask us how we got our hands on this, but we have our ways. And you will be automatically entered to win that prize if you make a donation of $15 or more. And remember that all of your donations go directly to JDRF, which is the leading global organization focused on treating, curing, and preventing type 1 diabetes.
Nice.
So all your donations are going to a great cause.
Donations are nice, and then that battle skip she just did is
Yeah.
nice too.
That's one of the hardest battles to skip
It's-
in this game.
Much
Yeah.
harder than she made it look.
Yeah, and then
This one's hard too.
And just a reminder, since we do have a couple
There
super,
nice.
we do have a couple Super Famicom carts as prizes during the event. If you don't have a Super Famicom, you can still play them on a Super Nintendo. You really just need to get a pair of needle nose pliers, and there's 2 tabs in there that if you pull them off, it doesn't even have to come off very cleanly, just get most of it out.
I had to tear them off bit by bit in
Yeah.
my Super Nintendo because Nintendium is very durable.
Yeah.
But also, Yeah.
Alternatively, you can just unscrew the screws on the bottom of the Super Nintendo, sort of take it out, and actually do a nice job of removing the tabs.
I used some pliers and tore them apart bit
Yeah.
by bit.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
either approach worked. Yeah, I'm actually quite grateful Driscollad did that to my Super Nintendo after the previous Crystals for Life because, yeah, I got some Super Famicom carts from the attendees, which I was very grateful for, and yes, had the opportunity to actually play them on my Super Nintendo. So, yes, it's very much so playable on a Super Nintendo.
Is there any obvious cue in whether or not you got the Laruba Elder skip before you get to the top of the deck?
I think there is. I wasn't really paying that much attention
Yeah.
this time, so I went back to make sure that I got it. Because
Yeah.
if you don't, then you climb to the top of the mountain and Ayla's not there, and so it's bad.
Can you please tell MTI that the contents of the mystery box is not Chancellor?
Well, you know better than we do, Foxnor.
No, I bet the contents of the box is the real Poxnor.
I know I'm short, but really.
Hey, takes one to know one.
We haven't really had any Puoxnor jokes this whole time, have we?
Not that I've heard. I need to do some more stuff to stimulate those jokes, I think. I am Canadian.
I love how Ayla climbs over the bars here and is unable to
Yeah.
climb back out.
And there's a button right there to open the door.
Yep.
Ayla doesn't always think things through.
Well, it took me a while to get desensitized to how running away animations look in this game, too, just given that you're fighting battles on the field map, so running away just makes the enemies just disappear
You ran
Yeah.
away.
without you actually changing where you are. I mean, it doesn't really specify whether you or the enemies ran away, so there's that.
Maybe you just flex at them and intimidatingly and they run away.
That's it.
Especially when Frog's in the party and that bicep bulge is there.
Grrr.
Ayla can bust out like that. How come Kino didn't?
He's not as strong.
Right.
Ayla's the strongest.
All right.
Yeah, was a button there that you could have pressed to
Yeah,
just
see.
open it.
But
He's nice.
I got completely lost in this area when I came here the first time.
There actually is a little skip here you can do to skip that animation there. But if you mess it up, oh, hello. I've never done that before.
That's never happened before.
Chrono slide.
I mean, you can do that in some of the boss skips when they get stuck in their
Oh, that- I was
battle
supposed
ready
to get that.
animation, but doing that just by going out a door is a little bit different.
I can't run from this. I was not supposed to get this battle. Some of the battle skips in this place are really kind of tight. But I usually
Well,
don't
this
get
is the
one.
final dungeon after all.
Do you need to do any of the tech point grinding in any percent?
A little bit, very little bit.
Yeah, because it's to get, is it to get Rolo kick before Azala? or-
Well, I need to get Marley some more tech points. But then, yeah, I also got
Yeah,
flame
she still
kick.
needs haste, doesn't she?
a little more life in there.
So I normally fight 2 battles here with Marley and then 1 with Luca. Or I fought that last battle, I might not need to do 2 with Marley, but I'm going to just to be safe because I don't know exactly where I'm at.
Wait, how does that volcano thing only hurt the bad guy?
If the bad guy kicks it, it hurts you. If you attack it, then it hurts the enemies.
Yeah, the little imp will sometimes walk up and kick them.
First, we're gonna do this.
Okay.
All right, we have a couple of donations. First
Oh,
off, from Manuel, we have a $10 donation. Thank you very much. And Dan R donates $5 saying, "Hey all, 4th donation. Still loving the marathon and watching every moment." Wow, you must be tired by now. Way to go. I'm impressed. Some love from Edmonton. Oh, well, awesome to know someone from the hometown is donating. Thank you very much. And don't forget that tonight is your final full night to be able to come out to the Touch of Class Lounge downstairs in the Chateau Louis Hotel in northern Edmonton. If you come out, you can watch Crystals for Life on the big screens down there, and also meet any of the runners who come down after their runs. So yeah, thank you very much for your donations, everyone.
So we don't feel like fighting Nisbel again.
No, not
Yeah.
really.
His flexing's a bit too intimidating.
I mean, he's been working out since, and he's got that flexing.
Just wanted to fight a couple more of these rounds.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
again,
that's the thing. After that, the fade out glitch brings you back here, and you can't avoid this battle. So, I want to get that fade out glitch to skip Nisbel
yeah.
before I fight all the battles here that I need.
Yeah, the older any percent route before the elixir glitch was discovered actually had a lot of grinding you had to do on,
Yeah.
on that battle right there.
Because it does give quite a bit of tech points.
Yeah, I mean
considering how quick
it usually
goes.
took about close to half an hour, I think. I mean, it was pretty painful.
Yeah, it was a long grinding section.
Like 70 battles or something like that.
Yeah, it was a lot.
The route Abda used to use involved basically just having to learn Dino Tail for Ayla, and that was kind of
Yeah.
your trump card on Lavos Core.
And on this one, let's see. There we go. That one's really tricky to skip, and if you don't, you get 2 battles in a row with those Megasaurs, and you can't run away. That's why I saved just before that. So
Yeah.
if I'd gotten it, I'd just reset.
Those dinosaurs in general, you just can't run from them whenever you get them. There's a few other times you're forced into a fight with them, you just have to kill them. Thankfully, there's not a whole lot, like,
Is there red sparkly in the background?
Yeah, it's nothing important.
yeah.
It's Mars.
And then,
Mars is bright tonight.
sorry Ozala, your roar is not quite as good as the Tyranno's. Also, Ayla and Luca, you're standing a little close to the edge. I hope you don't get telekinesis used on you or something.
It's kind of